Back, everyone. Thank you very much for watching the show. In the studio is Mr. Buzz Ramsey from Yakima Bait and Pro Staffer for Berkeley and Abu Garcia, and Bryan Bell from Berkeley, and a number of different things that we're going to be talking a lot about with. One in particular, these bad boys that I have here, but that's a topic for another show. Go look up Hodgman, do yourself a favor. Anyway, okay, spinning rods. We covered that briefly, and really, to be very honest with you, everyone, we don't have enough time in 2 of these shows to talk about these rods completely. You really need to go down and go put them in your hands, but we're going to give you the reasons why you look at different types of rods as opposed to just one stick to do everything. Yes, you can do that, but sometimes it's nice to have specific rods to do specific things. And well, you have one in your hand right now. This is a one-piece rod. Everybody's pretty familiar with 2-piece rods, right? I mean, that's pretty much the industry standard. Why a one-piece, and why would you call this a plug rod?
Well, we probably have the wrong reel on it because we had this for set up for something else. But normally I run a 5500 Ambassador line counter on this for steelhead.
Sure.
But this is a one-piece mag taper, and it's one piece because we didn't want to put a ferrule in a mag taper rod.
Gotcha.
And the reason it's mag taper.
Yeah, why is that though? Why would you not want to do that?
Because the taper is pretty sharp in the rod, and a ferrule is going to mean that it's going to have a long, stiff section. And this rod, we wanted that taper to gradually come up and then with a real light tip.
Gotcha.
And the idea of this being a plug rod, now you can use it, you know, I mean, it's a great little small river brush rod with a bait caster reel and other things. Guys like them for all kinds of stuff. But this rod, the idea of this is this rod has a light tip. It's a mag taper. So it has a light tip so you can see the plug work.
Yeah.
Because if you get a leaf or something on your plug,
you'll know it.
You'll know it because you can see it wiggling. And then it's got a heavy butt section, so when you set the hook, you get them hooks in home.
Right.
And usually, of course, with steelhead fishing, you're waiting until that rod tip is down with your thumb on the spool and set the hook, right? I have people with me once in a while, and they'll forget to put their thumb on the spool. And you hear the drag spin, and they do the big yank, and nothing happens except the fish gets away.
What do you say when that happens on your boat?
I say, did you have your thumb on the spool? Oh, yeah. Really?
No, you didn't.
But anyway, so that's what this one is about. 8-foot, one-piece plug rod, mag taper plug rod. These are really popular for the guys that plug fish, which not as many guys plug fish as used to.
I don't get it. We were talking about this earlier. I don't want to get sidetracked. We need to do a full-blown show, start to finish, book end to book end, plug fishing, and why it's an art that can't die.
Yeah.
You know, now I fish a lot of plugs for steelhead, yes, but find to be doing it more for salmon with the smaller plugs. Okay?
Right.
We need to educate everybody on how to plug fish. You go out to the rivers now, every single boat's got a bobber off the side of it somewhere. Every single boat. Now, there's times where plug fishing is going to outfish bobber dogging.
Yeah.
Okay? It's just going to, that's a fact. It's hard to sometimes get away from it. We need to do a show.
When plugging works the best is when the water is medium to clear, low water. It's really good. And of course, you get a savage strike, so it's a great way to get a youngster, a wife, girlfriend, novice into steelhead on their very first trip. And when everybody's bobber dogging and everybody's side drifting or whatever they're doing, and you come along plugging, them fish see something different, there, go for it. And of course, hard strikes.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
There's nothing like watching that tip just all of a sudden just go from just pure mayhem when you got a chromer flying around back in the. I love that. Okay, not to get sidetracked.
Yeah. So this series of rods, the casting actions, the cosmetics are basically the same. The guides are more of a, what do you call this?
Aluminum oxide.
Aluminum oxide, and they're titanium coated.
Yep. Titanium coated.
Yeah. So they're a little more. A little heavier duty guide on the casting action, so it's a little different. Of course, these are smaller guides, so they're not heavy. Cosmetics are the same, but the handles, you know, cork gets beat up in rod holders. Pretty soon you're, putting Bondo on there. And so these have a shrink tubing on the handle, so they're really durable, really grippy.
And very comfortable.
Yeah,
they're
real comfortable.
And I think that because I have one, you actually gave me one with that handle on it a year ago, and I carried it. It's in my truck. That's what I have in my travel rod. Like if I'm out with my, don't have my gear and I get invited out into a boat or whatever, I have that rod. In the rain, it is very, very sticky still. So I mean, it really is nice to have something a bit different.
And then, of course, they all have triggers on them, so you can hang on to that baby good. And the blank is exposed here, so for sensitivity, there's a number of steelhead actions and salmon actions in this, but for sensitivity, your fingers are right on the blank, so you can really feel what's going on. Might not be as important with a plug rod, but with a drift rod,
very important.
Very important.
So what I have here is a bit different a variant from the rod that you have. This is actually a 9/6 herring heavy. Now, it is matched up with one of my favorite reels again. So it's not quite the right reel for this particular rod setup, but this would be something that you might say buoy 10 herring fishing, fish flash herring.
There's a number of new actions in the series. A lot of people are familiar with when it comes to salmon, they're familiar with the 9-foot extra heavy. That's been the best seller in the lineup.
50,
But with a new upgrade, we've added new actions, and one is a 9/6 and there's a 10/6 heavy herring. So it's a slower taper for that herring bite. It works great for, all salmon trolling. And guys are buying these to bobber fish for fall chinook and all kinds of stuff.
Which is not stupid. That's you want a longer rod, you want a heavy rod, just pick up your line. And if you're fall chinook fishing on the coast, you really have a legitimate chance to hook into a 40-plus pounder. You need the backbone in order to handle it. And this is a staple. The Berkley Buzz Ramsey rods, the very first ones, the IM6s, the IM7s, they are a staple in pretty much everybody's boat. They're in everybody's basement. They're in their garages. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, but this is the latest upgrade of that series in what we call complex matrix, and they're the best news probably about this series is the price point. What they retail for in most places?
Depends on where you're at, but most of them retail for $79.99.
Yeah, and they're all priced the same.
And you could load the boat with rods designed by Mr. Ramsey. Come on now. All right, we're going to be back with our last segment with the boys from Berkley. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.